Hello, welcome to this new session on microbiology. And this session will be on dissemination, infrastructures, and scientific societies and events. So I have the pleasure to have with us as first speaker, Natália Pasternak. Natália is very well-known science promoter with a highly recognized dissemination, dissemination activities. She's a microbiologist by training, and she's here representing the contribution from the Brazilian Society of Microbiology. Thank you, Natália. We are very happy to hear you on microorganisms in our daily lives.
Thank you so much, Isabel, for inviting me. It's an honor to be here. And well, I will be talking to you today about our microbial world, which I'm sure it's no news to any of you. I know you're all experts here, but maybe I can give you some hints on how to convince others are important. Maybe I can give you some hints on how to convince your own family, for instance, when they try to understand what the hell do you work with after all. So let me share my screen here and let's see if just tell me if you can see it. Yep.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Perfect.
So as I'm sure it's no news to any of you, it's a microbial world out there, people, and inside too. And sometimes we just have this new idea to people. When they think of microbes, anyone who's not very into microbiology, and you ask them about microbes, they will think about, whoa, I can't move my presentation. Okay. Yes, worked. So they think about this. Oh, ugly, bad microbes. This is what everyone usually thinks about when you talk about germs and bacteria. And they say, oh, that little things that make you sick, is it? And then we have to answer, no, not really. Most of them don't make you sick. Most of them are really important to you and to the environment and to the planet. And tell you the truth, you wouldn't be here without them. You wouldn't be alive without them. So these, the ugly, the bad, the ones that make you sick, they are just a minority. They are a very loud minority. They get the news. They get famous. So now it's up to us to make the other ones get famous because they deserve better. See, they are part of the biomass of the planet. Okay, plants outrageous. There's more plants than microbes in the planet. But have a look and see, have a look about animals. If you have a look here at the right low corner, you see that humans, you don't even see humans, but look at all the microbes you can see. And the biomass of the planet, archaea, bacteria, protists, fungi, they are all here. They are all represented here. And they own the planet, people. They rule the world. So let's try to live with them and live peacefully. We usually do, because they are everywhere. And I mean everywhere. Talk about any extreme environment on Earth. They like it cold, they like it hot, they don't mind pressure. And no, we are not going to talk about Venus today, okay? Let's skip it down here on Earth. They are present in industry, in drug development, in food, in biotechnology. We would have no biotechnology if it weren't for research in bacteria. You all know it. We would have no molecular biology at all. We would have no vaccines today, for instance, if it weren't for research in microorganisms and especially in bacteria. Of course, my field, because bacteria are much more important. And talk about agriculture. What would we do without nitrogen fixing bacteria in agriculture, without genetically modified organisms? So microbes are present everywhere, and they are essential to our daily lives. Daily lives. This is what's important. It's not just that they are essential to research, or they are present in our bodies, or that they provide vitamins. They are essential in almost everything that we do. And of course, They are all around us and inside us. We couldn't live without bacteria. If you got rid of all your bacteria at once, you would get rid of more or less 2.5 kilos from your body, but that's a good idea for losing weight, because you would also get rid of a lot of bodily functions that are essential to you. The bacteria have been with us, and other microbes, of course. I usually talk about bacteria because, of course, they're much more important, but they have been with us ever since we were born. Maybe before we were born, there are some studies that show bacteria present in placenta. But of course, from birth is when they really colonize us and we begin our journey together. They are also present in breast milk. And of course, there are plenty of sugars in breast milk that we can feed our bacteria. It's very important to feed them. They grow and they develop a lot of bodily functions for us. If you're feeling sad, perhaps you can blame your bacteria in your gut. We know, for instance, today that a lot of bacteria that live in our gut are responsible for mood, and they can secrete, for instance, a molecule that I'm sure you heard about, serotonin. It's a hormone that's related to mood and sometimes to severe illness like depression. It doesn't mean that bacteria can cure depression, but they are certainly involved in these mechanisms. Of course, they produce a lot of drugs that are important to us as well. So we have genetically bacteria that produce insulin for diabetics, growth hormones, vaccines, antibiotics. We wouldn't have any of these products if it weren't for bacteria. And of course, if you're very worried about wrinkles in your face, don't forget about our friend Clostridium botulinum that produces Botox. And so that's very important for cosmetic industry as well. And you can even blame them if you're a little bit overweight. It's not your fault, people. Blame the bacteria in your gut. I'm sure you all remember the first microbiota transfer experimentations that we did. I think this one is one of the best, when they transfer gut microbiota from discordant twins that were discarded for obesity. Yes, I always thought that the hardest part of this job would be to find the twins, but apparently they did, 4 pairs of twins, and they really transferred microbiota from this, gut microbiota from these twins to genetically modified mice. And look at what happened. Poor little mouse that got the obese microbiota became obese, eating the same diet. So when that friend tells you, I don't eat at all, I'm so picky, I eat so little and still I gain weight, it's not their fault, people. It's their gut bacteria. Believe them. And something really, really sad happened. You see, look at how fat the little mouse got. We couldn't let that, we couldn't allow that to be. They have to be healthy. So researchers thought of a way. How can we make that mouse thin again? How can we slim it down? And they had a brilliant idea. Maybe we can transfer the microbiota from the slim mouse to the fat mouse. So they just caged them all together. And of course, they have very strange eating habits. So they eat each other's poo. And this transfers bacteria. And it worked. It slimmed the mouse down. So when researchers restored their slim bacteria, their slim microbiota, it was much easier for these mice to lose weight, and it worked. But just don't get ideas. Of course, we can try to extrapolate this from humans, and what it would mean really is that if you have weight problems, maybe you should marry someone who's really slimmer than you. But careful about your eating habits, okay? If we think about food, I wouldn't want to live in a world without microbes, because think about everything that we would be missing. I mean, and look at the cheese, and look at the holes in the cheese, because I'm not just talking about yeast making cheese. I'm talking about bacteria that put holes in your cheese, because that makes Swiss cheese. It's not any cheese. It's much more fancy because, of course, bacteria are more important and they make fancy, expensive cheese, not any cheese. Would you want to live in a world without wine, without olives, without vinegar? That's important too. But most important of all, would you be able to live in a world without coffee and chocolate? You wouldn't have any of those if it weren't for bacteria. And of course, all the microbes. Okay, it's a whole succession of microbes that is used to ferment coffee beans and cocoa beans. And we wouldn't have any kind of chocolate or coffee in the world if it weren't for microbe succession. It's a very complicated process and it's all natural. No one knows to today, for instance, to make chocolate, what are the strains involved? There are several bacterial strains and yeast strains, and it involves a succession that sometimes lasts up to 2 weeks, 14 days. All of that to ferment the beans so that we can grind them and make coke and make chocolate and make coffee. So a world without microbes wouldn't be a good place to live. And what the hell is this doing here? Yeah, this is what happens when you do some research to find out weird things that bacteria do, so that you can show people. And then all of a sudden I came across this information. You wouldn't be able to make your bed every day if it weren't for bacteria. Yep, bacteria can make linen. Pectinase producing bacteria are important to make linen from flaxseed plants. They separate the linen fibers from the stem in the flax plant. That's amazing. I've been a microbiologist for more time than I'd like to believe, really. And I never knew that every time I make my bed, if I have, of course, fancy linen sheets, with I don't actually, I use cotton ones, they are cheaper. But if you go this one, see, it's quite expensive, but of course it's bacteria made, it should be expensive. It's amazing. It's amazing all the things that microbes are involved. And as I said, in our daily lives, when we get out of linen beddings in the morning and we get our coffee and we get our hot chocolate and we get bread and cheese, it's all bacteria made, it's all yeast made. And of course, they take care of the planet for us too. We know, you know, but most people don't know that bacteria can be genetically modified for bioremediation. And of course, natural occurring bacteria can help too, because they can digest hydrocarbons. So they can help clean oil spills, for instance. They can digest oil and just release CO2 and water back into nature. So they help clean the environment. And there are genetically engineered bacillus that can help heal concrete. Concrete, people. They can help turn calcium lactate into calcium carbonate if you use specifically genetically modified bacillus to do that. And you insert calcium lactate in your concrete. Well, when it gets moist, the spores from the bacillus, they germinate and they release the bacteria, and then they just they can just turn calcium lactate into carbonate and they can heal concrete walls. This is what bacteria can do for us. And of course, if they only could talk, well, they can, but they only talk in numbers. They are quite shy. So there's a phenomenon that, of course, you all know called quorum sensing. And when bacteria get together, they party. And they can activate genes, sometimes fluorescent genes like this, sometimes pathogenic genes. So it's a good strategy for us to study if we're trying to tackle, for instance, antibiotic resistant bacteria. We could use quorum sensing and try to disrupt those genes and maybe try to stop them from being pathogenic altogether. And I mean together, because they only do this when they are together. So when you get a whole bunch of bacteria, they start to express some genes and they talk to each other. So they say, okay, we got high numbers, everyone turn on the genes. And this is what you get. And sometimes, of course, then you get the bad, the nasty, the ugly ones. But we can learn from the good ones and we can tackle the bad. And with my, I'm really glad to break it to you, because I am sure that you already know, microbes will save the world. They not only own the world, they will help us save the world. Think about what we did in Impossible Burger with yeast hemoglobin producing yeast that produced hemoglobin, large hemoglobin, which is legume hemoglobin, so it comes from soy. But it would be really hard to extract that from soy and it would hurt the environment. So the brilliant solution from the Impossible Burger producers was to clone the large hemoglobin gene into yeast. And now we have this hemoglobin producing yeast, genetically modified yeast that make your meat taste like meat, your plant meat taste like meat. And how is this going to save the planet? Because it reduces animal breed. If we can get people to eat plant-based meat that really tastes like meat, it's much, because we don't have to change people's habits. It's much more difficult to change people's habits than to come up with brilliant biotechnology solutions like this one. This kind of solution that is based on microbiology, and it's based on molecular biology, and it's based on science. This is the kind of solution that can really tackle the world's biggest problems, for instance, like climate change. Because if we reduced animal breed just by eating plant-based burgers, maybe microbes can help us save the world. And of course, genome editing. Where would we be without bacteria CRISPR? And I know that every one of you is very familiar with Cas9, but let's talk about Cas13. And the way that it's been used now during the pandemic to develop diagnostic tests for COVID-19, because we can learn from bacteria and they can cut RNA and they can recognize RNA, and we can use them to recognize virus RNA and activate fluorescent genes. This is what companies like Sherlock and Detector have been doing, and they have been developing rapid diagnostic tests based on CRISPR for COVID-19. And this, if it works, it will probably be adapted for many other viral diseases in the future. This is something to invest in. This is something that can save us from future epidemics and pandemics. And it all comes from research in microbes, research in bacteria. This is what we need to show to the world when we talk about microbiology, when we talk about the importance of our research, when we talk about the importance of investing in science. And if we want to help, if we want to support from the nation to get investment in science, this is very important in my country now, as I'm sure you know. Science budget in Brazil has been literally cut in half in the past few years, and Brazilian science is really suffering and becoming an endangered species. Really, we are at a standstill, and we don't know where we're heading if we have no investment, if we don't get our funding back. This is what we can do. We can develop diagnostic tests, we can develop vaccines, we can develop food, we can help in agriculture, we can bioremediate the world, we can save the world with microbes, with microbiology, and with research, with science. And this is what we need to convey to the world when we talk about germs. Germs are not that little things that make you sick. Germs are that wonderful little things that can help us planet and that you couldn't live without. So it's a microbial world, people. Let's show the world that microbes are important, that microbes rule the world, and that we must support microbes, and we must fund microbiology research, and we must show to everyone how important they are and how dear they are to us. And please have some respect for bacteria. They are, of course, the only culture that some people have. If you want to follow me, this is my social media. The Institute Questão of Science here in Brazil was founded by me and 3 other colleagues a year and a half ago. And its main mission is to promote scientific and rational thinking, and to press the to inform the public, and to press and work together with the government for science-based public policies. So this is our social media. If you follow me on Twitter, you see that, of course, for Portuguese-speaking audience, there are many articles in our magazine in Portuguese, some in English, and I'm also a columnist for the Skeptic magazine in the UK, so you can read me in English there. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll find everything. And let's face it, bacteria rule the world. Okay, I'll say microbes because I know there are lots of people here who happen to work with viruses and yeast and some other kind of fungi, and I always forget about you because, well, bacteria. But thank you very much, and I hope I might have helped you to tell your families how important microbes are in their daily lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Natália. It was a pleasure to be able to listen to this talk. I'm going to leave all the questions for at the end, okay? I think we will have time. So the next speaker is Nelson Lima. He's my colleague at the Universidade do Minho, University of Minho, in Portugal. And he's also the director of Micoteca of University of Minho. It's a culture collection specialized in fungi. And he is, well, the director, or I don't know exactly, he can explain, of MIRRI. MIRRI, it's a very important infrastructure for microbiology, for culture collections. So you have a video, as far as I know.
Yes, thank you,
Can
Isabel.
you share the video with us?
Yes, and on behalf of MIRRI, that is the Microbial Research Infrastructure, that is a European research infrastructure, I wish welcome all of you, and I wish also thank you for the organizers to MIRRI this opportunity to share what we are doing now, but also how we see the superbugs and amazing microorganisms. So please, let's see the video.
Welcome to IS MIRRI 21's presentation on superbugs and amazing microbes. IS MIRRI 21 is a European Union-funded project under the Horizon 2020 program. IS MIRRI 21 brings together 14 partners and 8 third parties from Europe to collect, study, preserve, and distribute collections of microbes. These activities include the establishment of virtual collaborative work environment, transnational access, and education and training programs, among others. IS MIRRI 21 will see the implementation of MIRRI as well as its sustainability through activities that engage various stakeholders. Thus, IS MIRRI 21 presents superbugs and amazing microbes to engage citizens. According to the Convention of Biological Diversity means the variability among living organisms from all sources, including terrestrial, marine, and other aquatic ecosystems, and the ecological complexes of which they are a part. This includes diversity within species, between species, and ecosystems. Following this definition, biodiversity has different hierarchical levels that start from the narrowest one related with the genetic diversity within the same species or population, moving to a more complex diversity among species up to the differences among the planetary ecosystems. Nowadays, it is possible to represent all biological diversities in one single tree and understand the connection among the different biological groups and species. The total number of species known so far reaches 2.3 million, and microbes such as archaea, bacteria, and fungi are represented in this tree. Microalgae and protozoa are also present within the metazoa group. The total number of species known represent the tip of the iceberg when we estimate that around 5 to 30 million of species can live in our blue planet. The biological diversity needs to be studied. The microbial diversity largely contributes to this lack of knowledge that needs to be discovered. Microbes or microorganisms are living organisms that are in general unseen by the human naked eye. This means they are extremely tiny organisms, and the use of light and electron microscopes help us to see them. It is the reason that we call them microscopic organisms, that they have very different shapes, varieties, and sizes. This group includes all unicellular microorganisms, such as archaea and bacteria, both formed by very primitive simple cells called prokaryotes, and others formed by more complex and evolved cells called eukaryotes. In the latter group, many unicellular protozoa and algae, as well as unicellular fungi called yeasts, are included. In the fungi group, filamentous multicellular microbes are called molds. Finally, a virus is a submicroscopic particle that replicates only inside a living cell. They can infect all types of life forms. Viruses that infect bacteria are called bacteriophages. Microbes are very diverse, with different roles in the ecosystem. They can be found everywhere, even in extreme environments such as deep oceans, hot springs, and even glaciers. Currently, it is estimated that Earth has much more bacteria than there are stars in the universe, and bacteria that colonize man are 10 times more than the cells that compose the human body. Man has co-evolved with microbes, and this evidence is now confirmed, since the human genome has around 37% of bacterial origin. This confirms that bacteria are older than man on the Earth, and human genome was able to incorporate these pieces of genetic information. Human relationship with microbes is intense and compulsory, and it is another example of how different microbes interact and colonize the human skin. Different groups of microbes are present in different locales of the body, helping the skin to function. When these commensal microbial populations are disturbed or imbalanced, they can originate health problems due to their absence or overgrowth. Similar situations can occur with the gut microbes inside our body. Although not all microbes are pathogenic and give rise to diseases, we tend to think that they are all bad for our health or the health of plants and animals. This is a mistaken thought. In fact, only a tiny number of microbes are real pathogens. A study reported that from 1,400 recognized pathogenic microbes, only 20%, approximately 350, were fungi. And within this number, only a little more than a dozen are primary pathogens. The thought that microbes are nasty for our health has given rise to the overuse of antibiotics. In order to ensure the food we eat is free of germs, we grow our livestock and food with antibiotics. If we have a cold, we want our doctor to prescribe antibiotics. This behavior is creating a public health problem that is growing silently. Microbes are found everywhere on our planet, as said before, in the glaciers and rivers, in the roots of trees and herbs, in the intestines of insects, cow, or even our own. Their ability to populate a wide variety of environments creates a connection between the environmental, the animal, and the human health. This is one health concept. The fact that many of the same microbes are present in animals and humans as they share the ecosystem they live in. The One Health approach recognizes that our health is closely connected to the health of animals and our shared environment. Antibiotics are currently overused to treat and prevent various infectious diseases in cattle and in man, besides being indiscriminately added to fresh and processed food to ensure microbe-free products. This overuse of antibiotics has led to the appearance of superbugs, microbes that are resistant to antibiotics and cannot be killed with any known antibiotic molecule. Because we are all connected, superbugs arising in humans, animals, and the environment may spread from one to the other and from one country to another. Superbugs do not recognize geographic borders. If we continue with the excessive use of antibiotics, as we have done so far, superbugs will continue to spread. The growing spread of superbugs is becoming an alarming problem. Humanity has abused so much of the use of antibiotics that it has been predicted by 2050, superbugs will kill 10 million people, more than cancer would. The only solution we have to this problem is to reduce the indiscriminate use of antibiotics. So what are the benefits of microbial resources? Microbial resources share the raw materials of many biotechnological applications. Microbes are essential in the production of food and beverages, fine chemicals, enzymes, biofuels, vaccines, drugs, and heterologous proteins. They can also be applied as biocontrol agents of plants and animal diseases, as indicators of environmental quality, and in bioremediation processes. Additionally, microbes and their enzymes play a vital role in transforming renewable raw materials such as biomass, residues, and carbon dioxide into a huge portfolio of products. Accordingly, microbial resources play a vital role in biotechnology innovation, and their exploitation and valorization is pivotal to boost bioeconomy. Microbes are the pharmacy of humanity. Penicillin is probably the most known antibiotic. It was discovered by Fleming in 1928. The development of large-scale production was designed during the Second World War. Currently, beta-lactam antibiotics such as penicillin and cephalosporins are the leading anti-infection agent worldwide, with an estimated world market of billions every year. Immunosuppressors such as cyclosporins and other molecules suppress the activity of the immune system and are given after an organ transplant to help prevent organ rejection. Without immunosuppressants, transplants would be impossible. Immunosuppressors are also often used to treat some autoimmune diseases. Statins are also among the most used medicines. They are used to lower LDL cholesterol with an estimated world market of billions every year. In addition, microbes are essential for our life because they are used to produce anti-cancer, antiviral, antifungal, painkillers, vaccines, insulin to treat diabetes, immunostimulators, and many other molecules. The use of microbial enzymes in various industries is increasing rapidly because of their stability, catalytic activity, and the ease of production and optimization in comparison to plant and animal enzymes. They guarantee reduced processing time, low energy inputs, cost effectiveness, non-toxic, and eco-friendly features. They are currently used for any type of industrial production, such as the pharma sector, dairy and baking sector, for the production of beverages and animal feed, pulp and paper, leather, textile detergents, polymers, cosmetics, organic synthesis, and waste management. The annual turnover is of many billions every year. The enzymes produced by microbes have changed our lives, and we use them every day without realizing it. As it is shown in the slide, microbes have a fundamental role in the food system. They are involved in activities that are essential in agriculture, such as fertility of soils and protection of animals from diseases, in food production, such as food fermentations, and in the conversion of food waste into new materials that can be used in different industrial sectors. Finally, they are very important in human health, since they colonize our gastrointestinal tract and interact directly with our immune system. Do you know that fermented foods are manufactured by exploiting the metabolic activities of microbes? As a matter of fact, they are able to transform raw materials such as milk to final products such as cheese that are completely different, with different taste, smell, and consistency. Fermented foods are an excellent example of how man has learned to exploit microbes to prolong the shelf life of certain very perishable raw materials, such as fresh meat, through their fermentation. Fermentation is a very ancient process, and its combination with certain technological procedures like drying and salting allows for the production of safer and more stable foods. How else do microbes support humankind? Through the environment. Microbes control the main biogeochemical cycle supporting the existence of all higher trophic life forms. Hence, keeping in mind that marine biomes cover about 70% of Earth's surface, we have to remember that marine phytoplankton perform half of the global photosynthetic process despite amounting to only approximately 1% of global plant biomass. We monitor forest degradation carefully, but on the other hand, we have scanty information on the decrease of global oceanic phytoplankton density. A better knowledge on microbe activities is crucial in fighting anthropogenic climate change. We need to understand better how microbes affect climate change, for example, by producing and consuming carbon dioxide and methane, but we also need to understand how they influence the climate change and other human activities. We already stated how phytoplankton is crucial for carbon sequestration, but marine microbes through their activities also release carbon dioxide. Moreover, microbial biomass and other organic matter are converted into fossil fuel over millions of years. By contrast, burning of fossil fuels quickly releases imbalancing carbon and increases atmospheric carbon dioxide levels. Soil and water degradation is a serious problem all around the world. Pollution is one of the main causes of soil and water degradation and deeply impacts on our daily lives. The contamination of air, water, and soil represents a threat to the health and the environment that needs to be resolved efficiently. There is a growing interest in developing techniques to reduce levels of organopollutants from contaminated soils and waters by means of selected microbes. Bioremediation is an alternative approach that has recently received much attention due to its potential as a cost-effective solution and has been successfully applied in full scale for the treatment of contaminated sites. Bacteria and fungi are the main protagonists of bioremediation, being able to utilize carbon sources and transform most of the persistent organopollutants as various chemicals such as petroleum hydrocarbons, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, polychlorinated biphenyls, nitroaromatic compounds, industrial solvents, pesticides, plastic, and metals. In conclusion, microbes are amazing and diverse living groups of organisms. Microbes can be pathogenic and harmful to humans, animals, and plants. Microbes offer humankind several services, products, and solutions, many of them not yet discovered. Microbes sustain life on our planet. Or, as Louis Pasteur said, life would not long remain possible in the absence of microbes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for this contribution. Well, again, we are going to leave the discussion at the end. And I would like to ask people that who are watching us, following us at the moment, please leave your comments, your questions, because we will have them in the chat. You can use the Twitter or Facebook, whatever, to ask questions to these speakers. And the next speaker, I'm very happy to have with us another colleague from South America. So is José Pereira. He is the president of the Society, the Microbiology Society of Paraguay, and he is in charge of the organization of the next ALAM meeting. Well, ALAM is an association, Latin American Association of Microbiology, and in Europe, the Portuguese and the Spanish societies of microbiology are part of ALAM. So it's a pleasure to have you, José. Please.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you very much for the organization team. Thank you very much, Dr. Isabel, for the invitation. Congratulations to all for the International Microorganisms Day. I will talk about a little bit about our next ALAM. I will share my computer screen. Okay. Thank you very much again for the opportunity to talk and to share information about our next ALAM. I will talk about the ALAM, the Latinoamericana of Microbiology. Is made up of Microbiology Association and societies from Latin American countries and from European countries such as Portugal and Spain. The main objective of ALAM is to hold Congress, to perform Congress, to unite microbiologists on issues related to their discipline and scientific research. Nowadays, we know that with the information, with the easy communication about the people, we can create research networks, and it's very easy to work in that way. The ALAM Congress are performed every 2 years. The last Congress was held in Chile, and it was a total success. It was more than maybe 2,000 people. It was very huge, very important, very good speaker, and it was a total success. And this year, it was Paraguayan turn, but unfortunately, due to the problem that everybody knows, we decided to pass the Congress for the next year. Here we have the Congress will be from August 26 to 29. Okay, at the same time, the National Congress of Microbiology and Clinical Biochemistry will also held in the same time. Yes, I will talk about the topics. I will read. The topic that we have in the Congress will be ecology, epidemiology, and microbial evolution, environmental microbiology and microbial interaction, industrial microbiology, biotechnology and bioindustries, veterinary microbiology in agriculture, microbiology in food, microbial cellular and molecular biology, pathogenic interaction. These topics are related to all types of microorganisms such as viruses, bacteria, fungi, and parasites. Antimicrobial agent, resistance and development of new drugs, and microbiology and society, One Health, precision medicine, clinical microbiology, public health and innovation, human and animal health, neglected infection disease, biosecurity and biocustody, quality control in microbiology. So the Congress will have symposia organized by other society and association. So far, we have talked with the International Society of Human and Animal Mycology, the ISHAM, to perform a 2-day ISHAM Latam Medical Mycology Symposium. It will be coordinated by Dr. Juana Ortellado. Maybe you know Juana Ortellado. She was the past president for the Society of Microbiology of Paraguay, with Latin American Society of Tuberculosis and other mycobacteriosis, SLAM TV, to perform a SLAM TV symposium, and will be coordinated by Dr. Cynthia Diaz. So the symposia are still in talk, and we are open to hear or receive suggestions from other societies or associations. The Congress will be held in a hybrid format. Yes, it will be in person at the CONMEBOL Convention Center, a place that houses more than 2,800 people that is located in the city of Luque, that is near from Asunción. In the other hand, there will be on the online format called 4AD Congress, that will be a friendly and simple online platform where assistants can register, can enter to the talk simultaneously, leave their comment and question, read the program, send their poster. Yes. Each assistant will be able to interact directly with the expert speaker. It's a very friendly program. It's a very friendly platform that is easy to use. So why it will be interesting to come to a land in Paraguay? Maybe you know the goalkeeper Chilaver. In this match, we were very close to beating France in the semifinals. Or maybe you know Roque Santa Cruz. He plays in Spain, England, Germany, and he's playing in the best soccer team in Paraguay. So Paraguay is not only football. Paraguay have a very nice landscape and a lot of nature. Paraguay have unique places in the world. In Paraguay, we do science. There are several research centers with very good professionals, and we will also have international expert speakers from different parts of the world. And so in Paraguay, we also enjoy to dance TikTok music. So you are invited to be part of this. I'm sure it will be a success, and thank you for your attention, and thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, José Pereira, and good luck with this organization. It's not easy at this time just to organize a big congress as this one, but well, we are with you. So we have 10 minutes for discussion. It's good. And I do not have specific questions from the public, from the audience to you, but I have a lot of very supportive and kind comments from a large number of followers. So I'm very happy with this, and well, this was a very nice session. Before starting the discussion, I would like to invite you well, you personally, of course, and the societies, the microbiology societies or associations that you are representing, just to take a look and to use as far as possible our blog in Portuguese in the website of the International Microorganism Day. You know, we have a blog in Portuguese, but obviously it could be Portuguese and Spanish, and all of us can understand at least written text. We are, of course, able to understand this. So all the contents that we are including in this website are our own content, so not translations. So this is why it is important just to have new and useful contents for the website. Okay, I don't know if you want to make a comment and say publicly yes. It would be nice. You are mute. You are mute. You have to open the microphone. Okay.
Hi, Isabel. Thank you so much for this symposium organization.
Natália, you are mute.
From my side, yes. From MIRRI's side, that is a European research infrastructure, is only to tell all the people that attended these sessions that we are and we are welcome to all to follow also our social media and contact us to support and offer our service. The main focus on the MIRRI is to serve the science and microbiology science in special, to provide strengths with high quality for the research and for service and for the industry and other applications. That means that we federate the most important public service culture collection around Europe, and we keep in contact also with other networks outside of Europe, like the Brazilian network of culture collections, the Chilean network of culture collections, the United States network, and the Asian network. So we work all together. And this is important that the people understand the microbes that we preserve in the culture collections are free to be used according to the rules and the international legal frameworks. But in this sense, all people can also ask advice or contact us to provide service or advice as they wish. So they are all welcome to contact us as MIRRI infrastructure.
Well, Natália, I'm going to ask you a question coming from YouTube. And of course, you can comment on what you want now. And the question is to Natália, very nice talk. How important is the gut microbiome in obesity as an obesity factor when compared with human genetic factors? How powerful can microbiome transplants be in eradicating obesity? So from the YouTube.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the session. It was wonderful. Thank you, Nelson and Jose. I loved hearing your talks. And the TikTok dance, that was amazing in a P3 lab. I couldn't do it. But obesity is a multi-factor disease. It's very difficult to pin it down to just one factor or one cure. So it involves genetics, it involves behavior, it involves the microbiome, but it's a multifactorial thing. So we know that the gut microbiome is important, that it contributes to obesity, but it's not the only factor. And microbiome transplants for obesity purposes, really, they have not been really successful. They have been successful, though, for type 2 diabetes. And so it works in mice, but we know that not everything that works in mice works in people. And I think it's just one of those misconceptions that we have to deal with when we communicate science. There is a Twitter handle still active that is called Just in Mice. And it's amazing because they tag every news outlet that produces that sensationalist headlines like the cure of cancer has been discovered, and then they just say just in mice, because this happens all the time. And I think it's up to us as scientists to really convey the correct information in the most transparent way we can. Mice experiments, they can be very misleading. People read those headlines and they say, oh, good, so it works in mice, the microbiome, so all I have to do is to purchase this or that bacteria. And there are lots of bacterial products to lose weight, and we know for a fact that they don't work. So microception I think are a big part of our job today, because there are people getting rich on these misconceptions. Maybe, Jose, something to consider for the Congress, maybe a session on microbial misconceptions and how it drives market. We could think about that. Perhaps the Brazilian Society for Microbiology can help, but I think our work has been misused to sell products to people, and this is something that we should fight for.
You want to comment, Jose? You have your microphone mute. Okay.
Yes. We are open from the Microbiology Society to hear and receive suggestions for the Congress. For us, it will be very important to hear about that topics. Why not? We are still in time. We are performing today the program. You are all invited to participate. For us, it will be very important. And that I want to invite all of you. It will be a very great Congress. Maybe you can came to Paraguay and enjoy the Congress, enjoy the country. We are very harmful people here, and I'm very sure it will be a success. So you are all invited.
Okay, so we are at 2 p.m. We have to, 2 p.m. in Portugal. So it's our reference. So we have to close the session. I'd like to thank all the speakers, all of you that have been watching and following us. And you can see again this session or see it for the first time, because it will be available soon. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Isabel. It was a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, José.